Today, I'm going to show you another way to paint red using some of them secret weapon miniature acrylics. Yo, dog, Kenny Bichet here. Next Level Painting, hitting you up on the literal best of all days on this glorious Friday morning in the Beats Lab of Hollywood, California. I got another painting tutorial. Today, we're going to do something we've been doing a lot in a little bit different way. We're going to be painting some Blood Angels. Haven't done a Blood Angel video for a while. We're going to be painting good old Captain K from the Blood Angels Start Collecting box, the old Terminator Captain. He's got a lot of synergies now with the Orbital Intervention Strike Force, with the re-rolls that he offers for the Army. He's a great looking model on top of everything. So today we're going to be using secret weapon miniature paints. We're going to be painting this red with brown. We haven't done that in a long time. So it's a little bit darker, a little bit more realistic of a red versus like these crazy hyper pop reds that we've been doing in the past. Wanted to show you how to do that with the airbrush. And I also just really wanted to show off these new acrylics. Been having a lot of fun with them. If you guys don't know, you need to check out Twitch. Twitch.tv, next_level_painting. Yo, it's literally live tutorials twice a week, free giveaways, raffles, digital currency, everything you can think of and more. That's Tuesdays and Fridays. I want to shout out a couple of patrons, a couple of clutch individuals: Jason, Bjorn, Taryn, Brett, Scott, and Martin. You guys came in clutch this week. Patreon is my personal crowdfunding page. It's how I keep the lights on. Anyway, guys, thelongword.net is the home of the battle reports and the fastest growing library in video content related to Warhammer and Warhammer 40k. You guys ready to do this? Let's do this thing, guys. Here he is, Captain Carleen, Captain K. Love this model. It's a fresh model. Great detail, great rules. Anyway, we're going to lead it off with a little bit of Steiner Res. This is a Badger Airbrush Ready Primer. We're going to get in our airbrush using the normal protocol to thin it down, a little flow improver, a little water. And we're going to give it a couple of thin coats here. It is a light gray, which is perfect for what I'm trying to do here. I'm going to be building up a red using browns and kind of rustier colors than you may be used to me using. So I want those subtle pigments to come through a little bit more vibrantly than a black would support. The black is mainly for the pre-shade red that we've done in the past, and that is a very hyper red, a very super vibrant red. We're going for something a little bit more muted today. Dare I say slightly more realistic, which is a little bit uncharacteristic of Next Level Painting, but I wanted to show things that I haven't shown before. So here we are, just making sure to get every little thing. We left the cape separate because the cape would be a bitch otherwise. Here it is, Secret Weapon Miniature Brown Rust. I love this color. They've got a lot of great colors. They have 15 new acrylics. So we're going to lay on this rust color, a very thin coat, very watered down. The color is already very well mixed out of the pot. I only needed to put a little flow improver and a little bit of water in it to get it to go through my airbrush, and you can see it's very thin. So that's the name of the game. Couple of thin coats. Let it stick, let it dry. Another quick thin coat, let it stick, let it dry. And then you're going to let that gray help you with that rusty brown. It's going to really make that brown look unique, not like a standard brown. In the past, I've done this with other colors, but today I'm showing you how we can do it with the new secret weapon colors. They've got another color called Red Rust. Another great color. This is mainly like a pigment line, like a very natural color line. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to combo it off here with some reds. So now we're going to blend this shit straight into the brown color. And it's going to give us a very muddy red, a very natural, very organic color. And we're just going to keep transitioning it into the brown. We're going from the bottom up on the legs. I just like the way that looks. Some people like to go top down. I don't really think about light. I'm not a light scientist. I just put the colors where my heart tells me to. Same deal on the top of his back here, tops of his shoulders. I'm not even sure what the color of the shoulders is going to be yet, but I just paint everything as if it's going to be red for now, and then with the paintbrush we'll cut things back in later. Today we're focusing on the airbrush. We're getting in there, we're getting into the thighs, his hip armor. We're going to start squirting some of this on the chest piece. Here's where it gets swifty. Little Kador red mixed in a little bit with that red rust, 50-50, and we're going to use the common link to help us transition this new color into what we just did, and it's going to be flawless because of that mix. We're going to subtly pull it in. We're going to let it be more red, more vibrant. And while it's wet here, you can see it looks real red. But as it dries, it's going to get muted and more muted until it's very dull. And that is kind of the look we're going for. Like I said, we're doing a more realistic, possibly flesh tearsy kind of red here. There he is. He's looking good. Now we're going to flip him over. We're going to get some nice top-down highlights on his chest, on his shoulders. There he is. You can see it's a very muted red. Very cool. But we're going to have to bring it up one notch. Khador red, pure in its natural form. A little bit of flow improver, a little bit of water. Back in the airbrush, thin it down, and very subtly slide it in, transition it in over the colors you just did. The more thin coats you do, the better, the more red it's going to be. Remember, paint is basically translucent. So the more layers you do, the more opaque it becomes. So basically just keep applying this until it looks as red as you want it to be. Feeling pretty good about this. Flip it over, redouble down everything we just did, do it again. I'm really feeling this model. I like the way it's coming out. Very muted, very real. Same deal in the back here. We're going to rebuild all the highlights we just did a few minutes ago. It's basically repetition here if you want to have perfectly flawless transitions. You don't want to skip these midtones like a lot of people do. If you go right to the top, if you go from the brown to the red, it's going to be very grainy. But if you do what we did here, you can see how flawless those transitions are. You don't see any grain, any splatter. It's perfect. It's exactly what I was going for right there. Now it's just basically about thinking about how we want the red to look in the highlight stage. But in the meantime, we've got a little bit more work to do. We're going to grab some of that hot orange from Game Color. That's a Vallejo color. We're going to mix it in with that Khador red and just put a little bit of this new orangey. This is more of a blood red now. And we're going to just couple of spots just tiny in the middle of all the little highlights we did. Very thin. You don't want to like turn the red orange, but this is a fun little highlight that really intensifies it. All right, this is one of my favorite colors on the table right now. This is Tire Black from Secret Weapon. This shit is the fucking shit, man. I love this color. So we're gonna basically bang out this cape, Tire Black, and you can see right out the gate, it's not black. It's got like a little bit of green in it. It's like a dark rubber. You know, it's a very, very interesting black. It is a game changer as far as I'm concerned. I love this color. And now we're going to do a very thin coat because, as I said before, the gray helps these colors look their best. It's very natural. So I'm doing very thin coats and building it up because I don't want this Tire Black to just get muted out and lose all the subtle things that make it unique. I want it to show through. I want its natural hidden hues to be looking their best. So I'm feeling pretty good about that cape now. As you can see, it's a very interesting black. It's looking its best. We've built it up 3 or 4 thin passes. We'll let it dry in between using the air out of our airbrush to help speed that process up. Ancient Chinese technique. Here's where it's going to get interesting. We're going to add a little bit of Meridian's blue to the mix, and we're going to blue up this black just a little bit. And we're going to come in while it's still wet and very thin, very milky mix in our pot. We're going to subtly transition some of this new mix into the cape from the bottom up. And it is going to change everything about how you look at certain blacks. It is phenomenal. So much depth to it. I'm into it. Like I said, this Tire Black is my favorite new thing. I find an excuse to use it for everything. It's just so much more interesting than black. And look, we're going to keep 90% of that Tire Black intact when we add this very subtle shade to it. And just look at that, man. That cape is off the hook, man. Super into that color. Here he is right here. So this is the red that we're settled on for the most part. We got to come back in. We got to decide how we want to wash him, how we want to edge highlight him, what kind of colors we want to bring out in him. But this is the more muted, less insane red that you're used to seeing from the orcs that I've been doing. Captain K is looking fresh. Take a look at how this cape looks near this red. It is actually an amazing color combination. I'm feeling really good about that. We're obviously going to come in and finish this model here next week. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Play on, players. If you like these tutorials, check out Next Level Painting on Patreon. Become a patron of the arts today. We offer early and exclusive access to our videos and a rewards program for different pledge levels. Patreon is PayPal and credit card secure, so you don't have to worry about that. We use 100% of the money to improve our process.